Kim, what's on your radar?
Well, when it became apparent the current COVID vaccines aren't stopping the spread, the justification for mandates went from preventing infecting others to preventing our own severe illness. Many people have argued that it's a personal choice to risk it, while others have claimed it's not really personal when it clogs the healthcare system. Those who argue it's a personal choice have then asked, what's next? There are plenty of choices we make that lead to illness and injury. Will the government ban all the bad things that harm and kill us? No, that's a conspiracy theory. Or is it? New Zealand, a country that has been hailed as a progressive bastion during the pandemic for its strict lockdown measures and restrictions for the unvaccinated, a country led by a vibrant 41-year-old progressive woman who gave birth to her first child while in office, Jacinda Ardern, has put out its plan to ban smoking. That's right, a full-on prohibition on some people ever smoking cigarettes, all in the name of protecting their health. Ardern's health minister, who is spearheading the plan, told the Associated Press the inspiration for this new ban came from telling several smokers they had developed cancer. She said, quote, "You meet every day someone facing the misery caused by tobacco, the most horrible ways people die, being short of breath, caused by tobacco." So now New Zealand is banning it. The ban is unique in how they intend on implementing it. It won't be a blanket ban for everyone. Current smokers will still be allowed to smoke for the rest of their lives. The ban will affect anyone who is currently 14 years and younger. So here's how it works. The current legal age for smoking in New Zealand is 18 years old. The plan intends to begin raising the legal smoking age year after year after year so that people who are currently underage for smoking will always be underage for smoking. For example, in 50 years after this law takes effect, only people 65 and older will be of legal smoking age. The idea is after the current generation of smokers eventually die off, New Zealand will be completely smoker-free. Smoking will be fully banned in the country and everyone will be healthier for it. Or at least that's the wonderful rainbow and butterfly hunky-dory theory. In reality, prohibition has never been effective at stopping people from imbibing, injecting, or inhaling. All it's done is turn regular, otherwise law-abiding people into criminals and outcasts, contributed to increased deaths from poorly made, illicit, unregulated substances, facilitated an underground black markets of gangs, mobs, and cartels, and given rise to the police state and mass incarceration. Prohibition has literally never worked and likely never will. And it's been mostly progressives who've worked tirelessly to get conservative Puritans to understand this. In the 20s and 30s, people actually died from drinking bad moonshine while the mafia enriched itself by selling bootleg liquor. Al Capone was reportedly bringing in a whopping $100 million per year in the mid-20s. That's equivalent to $1.5 billion today. Despite what lawmakers wanted, business was booming. Alongside that boom came a rise in the prison system. Jails began filling up with mostly immigrants, Catholics, and people of color who were all targeted as the largest consumers of bootleg liquor. Though police forces were also increasing and growing in size, some felt they weren't growing fast enough to protect their communities from alcohol consumption. This is what gave rise to the Second Klan era. The KKK was resurrected primarily to terrorize Catholic immigrants from Europe who they viewed to be responsible for the moral decline in their communities. Prohibition was a disaster, but no lessons were learned. Though alcohol consumption is now legal, prohibition on marijuana has continued the legacy of prohibition of the 20s. Mexican cartels and American gangs have thrived by exporting weed into the United States and selling it in underground markets. Despite decriminalization in 33 states, the U.S. continues to make 600,000 marijuana-related arrests annually. Millions of otherwise law-abiding citizens now have criminal records from smoking, carrying, or selling weed. Our prison systems have grown, communities have been destroyed, and lives have been ruined, all because people who think they know better believe that prohibiting weed will keep communities and children safe. So basically, prohibition in all of its forms has given rise to the mafia, the Klan, cartels, gangs, and the modern penal system of incarcerating millions of people. I'd say prohibition hasn't just been a failure, it's been a complete and total disaster. Othering people for their choices, no matter how bad you think those choices are or beneficial you think it would be for people who are if people were forced to make other choices, it's ultimately a terrible idea. There might be some really compelling arguments for New Zealand and other nations to ban tobacco. Yes, smoking kills. Yes, people who get lung cancer for making bad choices are a burden on our healthcare system. Yes, smokers put toxic substances into the air that we all might breathe. But history has shown us that prohibiting people from living how they themselves choose only forces them underground and increases crime and the police state. It's a bad idea, and it's surprising that a nation as progressive as New Zealand would think this is a step in the right direction. So one thing I want to bring up also about this law is that, what's interesting about this prohibition is some people will still be allowed to smoke, meaning they're going to be able to go to the store, buy the cigarettes, while other people cannot. So New Zealand has said that they're going to make it more and more difficult for current smokers who legally will still be able to smoke, but it'll be difficult for them to procure the cigarettes. So, on one hand, it's already going to create this kind of underground market where current legal smokers will go and buy the smokes and maybe sell them off to those who can't smoke. And then if it's difficult for them to get them, then that's when we're going to see this kind of black market rise up, where we're going to see, bootleg and smuggled in cigarettes into New Zealand. I'm just amazed that after everything we know about prohibition, that they're going in this direction.
Well, Kim, on this one, you're really singing Robbie's song, and also singing the song from my first book, which I don't get royalties from anymore, so it's not a plug.
So don't even buy it.
You can buy it if you want, but it's not going to help me. It's called "This Is Your Country on Drugs," and it went into the history of the temperance movement, the history of the Klan and Prohibition. One amendment I'd make is that the Klan, the second Klan, really did rise fundamentally in response to rising black economic power and coming out of the birth of a nation, the sensational, incredibly racist movie. They were very much hostile to Catholic immigrants, but at the same time they worked with them. Like in the 1924 Democratic Convention, it was a fight between the kind of urban Catholics and the Protestant Klan. They called it the Klan Convention. Where they fought against Al Smith for the nomination, who was a Catholic. They successfully stopped him from getting the nomination in 24, but Al Smith got the nomination in 28, and the Klan did not leave the Democratic Party. So there was a hostility there, but not anything like the hostility that they had toward rising black power in the U.S. But who knows what New Zealand can accomplish as an island when it comes to prohibition? But you're right that generally speaking, prohibition just creates black markets and makes things more dangerous, and that we haven't eradicated smoking in the U.S., but we've massively smashed it down just through education rather than prohibition.
And the move to aggressively sin taxes on cigarettes. You're taxing people who are still smoking at heavy rates tend to be low class, low income, some heavy minority usage. So you're punishing people that in any other context the progressive left says no, we need to help these people, but you're bilking them. You're you're trying to stigmatize them out of bad behavior, which fails time and time again. Just punishing people for their vices.
Well, it doesn't totally fail, and that's the problem.
It doesn't totally fail.
Right, it does. The people who continue to smoke suffer for the benefit of the people who are like, $6 a pack, forget it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because there are some who quit as a result, and at least that's coercion rather than throwing you in prison.
Yeah.
But it's still ugly, and it still has a regressive effect, and more tobacco taxes are included in Build Back Better, actually. And
eventually someone, police come after you at some point if you resist the...
Right, Eric
Garner, this horrific police abuse case. Literally, they choked the life out of him for no reason, but they were, they'd been harassing him because he was selling loose cigarettes for a long time. Yeah, it's very, very against prohibition over here. Very much in favor of letting individuals decide, what is the right thing for them to consume. And also on the smoking front, vaping is a useful alternative for many people that has helped many people quit smoking, quit cigarettes. That is, we don't quite know if it's bad for you, but it is clearly not as bad for you. If it even is bad for you at all, it's not as bad for you as cigarettes. And there is a massive effort where the government is trying to criminalize it at every step. They say only, how dare you sell the fruity flavored ones, because only kids could like those. There are adults who like those too. It's totally ridiculous and counterproductive. Yeah. But we'll have more Rising after this. Stay with us.